up different coverages, and they're going to continue to mix up, but I think they're going to go to this a lot more, where they're having Jokic sort of show on these pick and rolls, play a little bit higher. They had him dropping, playing down here in the paint, but he was just getting cooked. The Nuggets as a whole were getting cooked. Having him play up here, I think, is the thing they had the most success with in the series so far, and I think the thing they're going to rely on more heavily in Game 6. But there's a couple things that you can't allow to happen. So first thing is you can't allow Donovan Mitchell to not use the screen. Jokic is on this side of the court. This is where your help is. You can't allow him to get back over here because Jokic isn't over there to either contest the three or to stop the straight line drive. So this is on Torrey Craig. Wall this off so he can't go back. This is a great example of Torrey Craig not doing that, getting stuck here, and Donovan Mitchell gets a wide open three-pointer. But so that's number one. Don't allow for Donovan Mitchell to not use the screen or else you're cooked. Number two, you don't want him to step into a three-pointer. This is why Jokic is playing up high. Because Mitchell has been so good at kind of walking into this and shooting the three, you bring Jokic up and you try to, at the very least, deter him from having an easy one. So that's number two. Don't let him reject the screen, number one. Don't let him get the three, number two. Number three, don't let him split the screen. So Donovan Mitchell, good job of attacking wide and then getting to the middle of the court. If Jokic allows that to happen, Jokic and Torrey Craig both sort of allow that to happen, then Denver is also beat in and really can't recover. What you're really hoping is that Jokic can slow Donovan Mitchell down so he doesn't just get a straight line drive to the basket long enough for Torrey Craig to recover, and that's your best bet. The other thing Donovan Mitchell has had success with is getting outside of Jokic and then attacking to his right hand. He's very good if he gets downhill to his right hand, so you just can't let him get that full speed attack. So it's really tough. You've got to wall things off and try to force them into their worst options while allowing Torrey Craig to fight through the screen and then recover. And that's sort of the battleground. That's the push and pull. What can Denver take away and what can Utah get? Torrey Craig gets beat on this one here. You're seeing Jokic is showing high on the pick and roll on this side because that's the way they're going. Torrey Craig cannot get beat back that way. This is where you get incredibly vulnerable, but of course he does, and you give up the three-pointer. It's the battleground. Talked about the different ways Donovan Mitchell can beat you. This time Torrey Craig does not allow him to snake back. Jokic is playing up. So now Jokic has that either don't let him get around right, don't let him split the double too high. He splits him, and the rest is history. There's an example of Denver basically doing all of the pieces right here, but getting a mistake from Michael Porter Jr. off ball. So Jokic is high. Takes away that, step into it three-pointer. Now the key is, is he going to get beat? Donovan Mitchell's going to try to beat him, especially around the right side, as we've talked about, which Jokic maybe might have gotten beat if Porter doesn't do a good job of stunting in here, but he needs to keep his butt to the baseline here, stunt so he can recover. Instead, he gets upright, forced to close out really slow, and gives up the three, which is even worse. You can see a stunt and recover. He's picking it up. Boom, get back. You've done your job. You don't need the steal every play. Just get back now, cover up, and they're not going to have a lot of options left. But instead, gets a little sloppy, and there it is. Just another type of coverage Denver can throw here. There's a difference between, showing up at the level of the screen and coming out above it, as Jokic does here. Denver did this in games 1 and 2. Utah releases Rudy Gobert sort of into this pocket so they can get him here. But one of the differences that Denver is stunting. You can see all these guys kind of half committing here and forcing Gobert to make the play rather than fully trying to rotate. I think they'd rather Gobert try to make plays out of this than to have all these wide open kickouts like they did in game 2. And at least in game 5, Gobert was not up to the challenge. He missed a lot of those. Here's an example of the defensive strategy working. Watch how high up Jokic comes, all the way up. He's ready to come up above the screen, but this is not a switch. This is Jerami Grant fighting through and Jokic not letting him get around the outside, and then everybody behind the play, especially length, PJ and MPJ here using a lot of length to kind of take away that roll. They kick out and everybody recovers. I mean, PJ Dozier just so good. That recovery, if you watch it here, watch him get in to take away the roll and then close out quick. By the time the pass gets there, he's right there. And then this play just breaks down. Now Utah has nothing. They're going to have to ISO Jordan Clarkson. MPJ does a good job of staying down and just using his length to challenge. One of the best possessions of the entire game for Denver. This was in my season preview about using Jokic to space the court because Gobert's following him. That pick and roll just allows Gobert to drop. Try running Paul Millsap at him here. You get the screen. You get basically the switch here, but you get Murray attacking somebody who's had a lot of success with Joe Ingles, with Gobert kind of stuck in between what to do. Do I challenge the shot? You got Jokic here in the dunker. Denver, this is more than anything, I think this is something Denver's going to have to go to more and more and just really attack. There's a lot, but they're going to have to build off of it. I think Utah's going to be ready for a counter. So I like this one is important because I actually think Jerami Grant as the screener. We talked about using Jokic as a decoy. I actually think Jerami Grant as the screener is going to be your better option, but he's going to have to make really good reads here because this is how I think Utah's going to adjust to it. They're just going to trap Jamal Murray and try to get the ball out of his hands quickly. One thing I would start to do if I'm Denver is start to pre-roll. This is what Utah has done is they brought up Gobert to screen, and then when the defense jumps out, they've rolled Gobert right here to the middle so that there's a little pocket pass, and then Gobert can make the decision going downhill. I think Denver's eventually going to have to be prepared for this. But you can see here, the trap, Nuggets do a nice job of give and go here, and the paint's opened up because, again, Gobert is not getting to just sit on the pick and roll and sit in here. He's playing a little bit out of position, and you open things up. If you watch it again, you see the whole play develop. There's Jerami Grant, sets the screen. They jump out at him. And that give and go happens. Denver's going to have to be prepared for that because I think Utah's going to do a lot more of that in Game 6. Another 1-4 pick and roll with Jerami Grant, but they pop him rather than roll him. Here's Gobert up, out into space. Jerami Grant knocks it down. Another example, 1-4, this time a dribble handoff. Or really not even a dribble handoff, just a standstill handoff. Look at Gobert out here on Jokic. Jerami Grant down here. And I actually love to see him, be ready to attack baseline on this. But instead he does what he always does, which is left, right, almost a travel every single time. It drives me nuts, but he always does it. And then now Gobert probably should fully commit and allow this kick out. Because one, Jokic, if he makes it, Utah's got to tip their hat. But two, I'm not sure Grant's going to make that read properly every time. Instead, he stays home and allows Grant to get all the way to the rim and hit this tough one. But I don't know that Grant's going to always make those types of drives, but it just shows you, take Gobert out of the paint, not by putting him in the pick and roll, but by having Jokic off ball. Denver had a lot of success. Another 1-4 pick and roll where they brought the trap, and of course, this was the highlight of the game. Trap, Murray was ready for it, splits it, and now you're in great position. You're attacking with numbers here. And Murray just makes an incredible basket here. But this is the thing. I mean, Murray making incredible plays is one thing, but Denver just having sort of a strategy here is going to be part of it because they're going to be bringing that. I can't imagine they're not going to try to stop this with that double, bringing two guys up like that in Game 6. Here's an example of them running this, but with guard-to-guard action. So you get Torrey Craig in the screener role here instead of the power forward. Really, this is a four-guard lineup. You got Michael Porter, but you got Jokic extended. Rudy Gobert's on him. But notice when they trap here, Torrey Craig's not ready for the outlet, and they end up getting Murray to pick up the dribble and with nowhere to go. Denver's going to have to be more prepared, especially if they're using PJ in this role, because this play becomes busted. Fortunately, Jokic and Murray both just make fantastic plays, but they had to kind of scramble. Watch again, Torrey Craig, trap, not even just a switch. They send the full-on trap, but Denver doesn't quite have a plan here. Torrey Craig out into open space, Murray not prepared for it. Denver's going to have to be a little bit more expecting this going forward, because if they trap that hard and you can get out of it, you have a huge advantage. But if they trap that hard and you're not ready for it, you get possessions like this one. Couldn't believe how incredible this play was by Jamal Murray. First of all, you see the Kobe in his game. You know he loves Kobe. Went to the Kobe Academy over the summer. You see him. All this, every single piece of this move here is just, of just kind of holding off the defenders, Kobe. And then look at this incredible spin to the basket, perfectly timed cut here from Michael Porter Jr. Jokic in the corner. He knows Gobert's rotating even harder than before because Murray just had so many points in a row and just perfectly. I mean, that is knowing exactly what the defense is going to do before they do it and executing it perfectly. Here we go in real time. Absolutely incredible stuff from Jamal Murray. The best probably sequence I've seen of him in his career, if you just look at the last 8 minutes or so, or really it was like 14 minutes of this game. First play of the fourth quarter here, you get a double high screen. Then you get a double stagger screen. This is the nice thing about having a secondary point guard. That's why I talk about Murray getting taken off ball and allowing another guy here. Makes the defense have to make multiple reads here. Now you run Murray off of this double stagger, and look at Gobert has to step out. Murray does a great job of slow playing this and sort of making him hang on there a half second longer so Jokic can get out here. And then he gets the nice pick and pop jumper. Watch it again in full time. 1 point guard double high. Second one, double stagger. Denver was going to this in the first quarter, and they were going to this in the fourth quarter a lot. I think there's even more wrinkles they can add out of this action that's going to really put Gobert finally in a different spot than the one that he's been in so consistently in the series. This is one action I'd actually go to a little bit more. So they ran this double stagger 2 times in a row. This is now 3 times out of bounds play. And I like Michael Porter here in large part because even if you play perfect defense, this is just Porter's very comfortable. He misses this one. He kind of fades away a little bit on it. But I just like this one because Gobert, if he's going to give it to him, I think Porter's going to knock this one down a lot. And with Porter's height, I think eventually he gets out here and Porter's going to be able to make the nice reads, either the kick out or the roll to Jokic. So only ran this one once. They actually ran it in the seeding round and got a bucket out of it at a critical moment. And I think it's just a little action Denver can maybe run a little bit more in Game 6, and if they should they make it into Game 7. Here's the one, man, and Denver has to convert this one. I know Jerami Grant does it, but you've been working this double high pick and roll, popping different guys. Here they get it. They get the screen. Murray engages Gobert up top, attacks him, and gets this perfect opportunity for a lob. Jerami Grant finishes this 99 out of 100 times, I think, and he's got to. I mean, his value goes up so much more if he can finish these. He doesn't get that one, and it's a killer, but it's a great play. It's a great action, and I think Denver can get more of this in Game 6. I don't love Denver's offensive process here. This is that little wedge roll play they love to run. It's a Jokic ISO post-up play, and you're going to see it stagnant. But look at what lineup Malone has on the court here. Monte Morris, Torrey Craig, Jerami Grant, Paul Millsap. I mean, you're asking Jokic to make a play here with Utah having every single player with 1 foot inside of the paint. It's just tough. And then Jokic makes the only read he has available to him, which is the one guy that you can kind of count on to shoot in this moment, and he just doesn't deliver. But I just don't know about going to a Jokic ISO post-up with line. I don't know about playing lineups like that, but if you are, that offense just seems like bad process to me. Next possession with this lineup, and you can just see Utah is going to overload, leave guys wide open because Denver doesn't have a lot of shooting. This lineup is really a rough look. I mean, I think Denver has to avoid lineups like this. Here's the difficulty of Denver trying to defend with 2 power forwards and a center, which is why I think the starting lineup is just, it doesn't make sense to play it too much. Here you have 2 guards, you got 2 power forwards for Denver, and then at center, and you look at how much they have to sort of navigate these screens. Okay, he goes under. This is slow. He's not even afraid of it. Now Donovan Mitchell grabs the bump here. I mean, this is just walking into a foul here because you're trying to make such big players defend this. And then, so Utah goes up here kind of big, and then out of a timeout, Denver with their largest sort of deficit, this is what they go to. I mean, it's their trusted. This is their safety blanket is the Jokic ISO pickup. But you've got non-shooter, 2 power forwards. Again, both of whom can shoot, but the defense isn't going to. I mean, the defense will let you beat them that way. Denver's lucky that this ISO post up against the defensive player of the year with 3 guys having their feet in the paint, 3 other help defenders with their feet in the paint. Denver is lucky that this somehow turns into a Torrey Craig contested deep 3-pointer that just so happens to go in. Denver has to get, I know that the defense is the emphasis here, but this group is not defending, and playing significant minutes with that 5 on the court just has not bared fruit, especially the way Denver's attacking it with isolation post-ups. This is a great example of how close things can be and how much they can get out of control real quickly with little mistakes. So this is just a great shot. Great defense by Jerami Grant. He contests him. He's around the screen. Joe Ingles with this leaping shot here. No backboard, nothing but net. Okay, that happens. Guys hit shots. Now here you go. He's on the ground. You can get out and run. Can Jokic trust Torrey Craig and Jerami Grant? You've got an advantage. Boom. You've accomplished your goal. Rudy Gobert now has to switch on to Jerami Grant. You've got a mismatch inside. You've got Jokic on a mismatch. They've been trying to get this mismatch, and Utah's done such a good job of shutting it down. So you got 20 seconds on the clock, and turn it over. Just an absolute killer. You finally get a transition opportunity, and not only do you turn it over, but it comes into a transition 3 the other way. That's a 5-point swing, a little bit on luck, a little bit on just not being able to take advantage and being under control, attacking while being under control. Really, really killer. This is incredible defense by Dozier, who's getting a full speed Mike Conley in transition. And just look at him keep his hands at his side, not reach, not just keep the defender in front of you, use your size. Then he gets that hand to contest. Just really good defense. We watch it again. Down, shot goes up, get a hand on the ball, boom, turnover. Very next possession, watch him use his hand in the passing lane and use his body. He jumps here. Again, I talked earlier about Craig allowing them to reject the screen. He's not going to let you reject the screen, and then he just uses his length. Look at that hand here in transit in the passing lane and doesn't reach. Uses his body. Conley tries to create a little bit of separation. PJ embellishes it, but that's just being in great position and frustrating the point guard from, doing the stuff that he's been able to do against lesser defenders all series. So the big record scratch play where O'Neal refuses to shoot it. They attack Michael Porter. They have this whole time. Michael Porter does a decent job of getting this angle, and Donovan Mitchell comes back. And this is what I talk about, that when you can force him away from that right, things get a little bit tougher. He chooses to kick out here, but the person to keep your eye on is this incredible run out by PJ Dozier here, where he doesn't fully – he knows the better shooter's in the corner. He's a smart player. So watch this closeout. Nope. Cuts off the passing angle. Doesn't even run at him. Cuts off the passing angle and instead ends up creating this where the ref calls. I'm not even sure it was a travel, to be honest with you. But just look at this. That's just a heady closeout right there and gets it. Unsung hero indeed. The difference between PJ Dozier and Torrey Craig, I think on both ends of the court, is that just PJ Dozier is an incredibly heady player. They both play hard. They both try to do things, just out of pure hustle. But the thing about Craig is he tends to bumble passes. He tends to be in the wrong spot. He tends to, steal rebounds or crash into players. Whereas PJ, on the other hand, makes plays like this one. Bad pass, still somehow recovers to make it incredible. I mean, look at this. Bad pass, should be a turnover, turns it into what was probably the single most important shot of the entire game. And that's PJ Dozier, not just making hustle plays, but hustle plays with intelligence and control as well. One area, Murray really getting a lot better. The defense goes under on you 100% of the time. It's got to be this pull-up. I mean, Royce O'Neal's been chasing him, but you see right here, for whatever reason, Royce O'Neal tries to duck under, fakes over, goes under. Murray goes right into his shooting motion, steps in with confidence and knocks it down. One more time at full speed. Boom. Read it. Just have the confidence and the green light to go up. Nice shot by Murray.